Hello everybody, this is Juntes. Today I want to talk about the boredom of RPGs in general and specifically also Diablo 3. So, I have actually been playing about a month now of Diablo 3. I wanted to give the Frozen Up build a chance and I think I actually managed to get pretty far, but the boredom peaks really fast and I think it's also the case for a lot of other RPGs. I am pretty much centered around the end game point of view where I like to, not do much of the early on stuff such as leveling characters, exploring the scene, whatever. I kind of just want to max out the gear, max out the levels, and then I end up getting bored pretty fast. And today I want to kind of talk a little about that and also the experience with Diablo 3 lately. So, I wanted to give the Frozen Orb Sorceress a chance. I felt like it was such a fun build and the mechanics alone are just, they're really intense and it's so punishing to play it, mostly because of the convention of elements ring. At the end of the video I will also just quickly show off some gear and whatnot for the build that I had. The gameplay I'm gonna be running now is just a Greater Rift, was it 97? Yeah, 97. Nothing special these days since a lot of people are pushing into the 110s, even at my Paragon level, maybe a bit above my Paragon level, but yeah, more on that later with the Paragon and so forth. So, Frozen Up build was actually quite fun. The mechanics again are just so cool with the convention of elements ring. It's really punishing, and I think that's why I ended up liking it. I tried the Talrasa Meteor. I tried the Star Pack build that was recently out, which is really good for co-op if you have like a monk to pull in the packs and whatnot. And then I also dabbled a little bit with a Firebird Meteor. I felt like only the Talrasa variation of Meteor was any fun, so at the end I really only wanted to play the Frozen Up build, which was fine. It's the one I augmented anyway, and it's what I ended up banking on from the start, so I felt like I did the right choice from there on, so that was nice. Anywho, there was a lot of loot RNG in regards to also getting the items, but I was really blessed with a couple of items, and yeah, I think I'll just show off the gear here at the end and whatnot. Yeah, lo and behold, I was actually able to get an insane primal item, so that was pretty freaking insane. I couldn't believe that happened. I think in total I played maybe 40 or 50 hours in that month of Diablo 3, and in that time I was only able to get, was it 4 primal items I think in total? 2 of them being crap, this random shit primals, and then 3 of them being good. So yeah, I think I got like 5 primals, yeah, 2 crap and 3 good, one of them being extremely good, so that was very lucky in my case, but more on that later. Now, I was able to actually, get up to like Greater Rift 90 solo very fast. It wasn't any problem, and then it was all about just augmenting gear. And at that point, I don't know if it just got kind of boredom, but leveling gems, I have no idea why leveling gems has to be so bored in Diablo 3. You're basically just loading up a speed build. In my case, it's the old Flashfire build that we had since like 2016 or something like that, with Vandervo Explosive Blast. This time it's the Talrasa Meteor doing a lot of the burst damage as well. But that build is just so, it's so good to play. You do a rift in like 2-3 minutes consistent. It's never longer than 3 minutes, even up to like Greater Rift 60-70. I was able to push the build with 75 with my average not that good gear and Paragon level. So that build is just so good for leveling gems. But yeah, leveling gems is just so bored, but it's so needed, because at some point it doesn't really matter about the gear. Diablo 3 has this weird endgame where it's all about the main stat. So I think I was able to climb up to like 16,000, 17,000, and at that point the only reason to continue playing Diablo 3 was just to gain like 1,000 to 2,000 intelligence more on like bits of gear here and there, maybe a bit more augments and so forth. And I'm not gonna sink in like 100 to 200 hours just to get 1,000 to 2,000 more intelligence. Now, the Paragon level would be added on top of that, so it would be more like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 intelligence that I would end up with. But who cares? That is such a minuscule amount of intelligence that I just can't be bothered with it. And I think that's why it ended up being boring really fast. I also wanted to talk a little about the experience also with pushing Greater Rift solo and whatnot. It's fun. It's fun. It's definitely fun, but there's just no real point to it. You really just want to try to do it in multiplayer games, and this is also where, maybe I should just play out on season in Diablo 3. It would probably be more fun. It would make more sense. It's a popular game. People only want to play season and whatnot, but I just can't be bothered. And there's like 50 to 100 people playing Greater Rifts in prime time in Diablo 3 currently on EU. There's just nobody, and it's such a random bullshit fest doing these Greater Rift 90s to 95s in public groups. You end up wasting so much time with gold, keys, etc. It's just unpleasant, and yeah, there's just so many dickheads as well. It's just, if I spend a key and augment it, I blow like I don't know, 75 million gold or something like that every time I augment the key as well to get another gem level chance at that high Greater Rift level. And then like 2 minutes in, people start leaving, people start doing whatever. But yeah, I talked about that before, where I want a lobby system in Diablo 3, sort of like Grim Dawn, Diablo 2, whatever. A lobby system is just needed so you can filter out certain types of players, or search for your own specific groups. Like there's just gonna be a better chance of you finding an actual group that does the same thing as you want, if you have a filter system, a lobby system, something like that. It's really needed. Anywho, it was a fun month, but it ended up just getting boring really fast because I didn't end up liking the other specs that the wizard had. So at the end, it was really just all about Frozen Orb, and Frozen Orb. I can definitely play that build and still enjoy it, but I am really just more about I don't know if it's kind of like fun. A game is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have fun while playing it, but for me that just doesn't does it. I want to grind. I want something like to achieve something that like always pushes me a little further. But Paragon level and gem levels, they just don't do it for me. It's such a tiny amount of progress for such a large amount of time invested. And I think that's kind of why I ended up not really enjoying it that much. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the Diablo 3. Just at the end of the video, I can also just show a little bit of gear, just for the fun of it. But yeah, then I wanted to move on to another topic that is basically centered around boredom in RPGs. I think a lot of games, especially RPGs, are all about loot hunting. I hear a lot of people who perhaps buy Diablo 3 right now in 2018, whatever, they say that Diablo 3 is such a great loot game. They have so much fun, and I agree. The loot is just constant. It's just, it goes so fast. You get so much loot, but it's like 50 hours in, and you feel like you're capped out. You are not gonna get that much progress. And this is where a game like Grim Dawn, I actually bought the expansion, and I'm actually planning on playing it the next week and whatnot, trying to find some time for it at least. I think a slow-paced RPG would make more sense in the scope of loot hunting that is very rapid, and I feel like Grim Dawn is somewhat slow compared to other RPGs that I have played. So I think taking it slow, taking it in taking a few builds that are not that mainstream could be fun. I definitely like exploring builds that I might not see on forums or whatever. But yeah, in regards to kind of the main aspects of RPG, I think it's a problem where a lot of RPGs are very fast paced, because either the end game is amazing and you can just keep getting value out of the end game, or you're gonna cap out really fast like Diablo 3, where you end up playing like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, and then it's like, whatever, my progress from there on is just so little that it's pointless to continue. I mean, just take a look at Diablo 2. If you're actually playing Diablo 2 legit, it's actually a slow-paced, very long grind, and for a 2018 aspect, that's actually pretty unique, where it's really slow if you enjoy that sort of gameplay. getting to like a max level at level 90 solo on single player or whatever, that would take an eternity compared to getting a decent ancient augmented gear in Diablo 3, which can probably be done in like, I don't know, 50 hours, 60 hours, if you play, completely fresh. So that's pretty stark, reminder how fast such end games can be compared to other games. But that's also why I think it's good to have different games in this sort of genre, where Grim Dawn, I think, is rather slow. You can definitely feel that the aspect is not really rushing to end game and just doing everything in end game and only end game and only end game over and over again. It's nice to kind of have that I feel that it's okay to be slow. It's okay to not do like a rift in 2.5 minutes or whatever. Um, but I think also another problem with slow game is that the progress can then feel a lot worse. Like loot can be restricted. You're not getting as much loot as you want. Drop rates can be annoying to deal with, etc. I think that's also a legit concern that a lot of these games needs to kind of think about, because you don't want to have the gameplay being that slow that there is no reason to actually strive for end game, where you feel like the end game is unreachable. Like you're never gonna get the best gear or the best build for that class you're playing, because the end game is just so hard. And I think that's also kind of the problem with Grim Dawn, where you actually end up thinking you're never really gonna finish the build. It's gonna be really hard. And that's sort of the aspect that I feel like when I'm reading on the forums on Grim Dawn, a lot of people who pick up the game and whatnot, they might feel that the end game is unreachable. The drop rates are not really good. It feels very slow paced. They're not really getting that much out of their time as they want. Compared to Diablo 3, where you can play for like 30 minutes to an hour and actually feel like you got a lot of progress out of that small amount of time, just because it's so fast paced and it's so easy to pick up, where other games can maybe feel a bit more annoying and clunky in regards to every aspect of the game, really. Anything from gearing, looting, to figuring out the build that you actually want to play and so forth. Whereas like Diablo 3, you load up a website or whatever, and like you read for 2 minutes and then you already know everything you want out of that build. It's really nice to have such fan sites supporting the end game, etc. Where other less popular games can be a bit clunky to figure out stuff and so on. So in regards to that, it can also be a bit of a problem. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So let's just move on with some Diablo 3 loot. So then, let's take a look at the gear that I was able to get. I ended up tinkering a bit with the Mercy Chant as well. There's not a lot of, mechanics and end games that you can tinker with in Diablo 3. It's really simple, so at least you can, figure out the Mercy Chant as well. It's the little things that I like to deal with. Freezer Deflection is still the best shield. There's just no way around this shield. And then I ended up going with Thunder Fury, because a lot of people seem to like the proc together with stuff like Weird World Ring and so forth. It's just really good overall for elite packs. And then the helm here, or the amulet here, could actually be pretty decent for that single elite pack that is still alive or something like that. So it's pretty nice to see an amulet like this one finding use on Mercy Chant. And then of course Oculus Ring. And then all of the gear, of course, with the cooldown reduction and attack speed everywhere. That's really important. But yeah, I just want to kind of mention the Mercy Chant, because again, there's not a lot to builds in Diablo 3. It's pretty simple, maybe a bit boring actually, but yeah. So I tried really hard to get an unstable scepter. The most annoying thing is that I actually had pretty good gear, unstable scepters, etc. pre-changes. But they aren't, retroactive changes. So a lot of the ancient items that I had before, which were actually pretty great, it was like a 2.9k unstable scepter with really good roll. It was just never gonna work in this current patch. So I was never really able to get a really good one. This one was okay, but it's not really great. If it was really good, it would obviously have higher effects, higher DPS, and no vitality. So yeah. What else could I perhaps mention really fast? Oh yeah, still using this awesome convention element ring, which I talked about in a recent video. Still one of the greatest loots that I've ever gotten. Then Witching Hour, still really happy with this setup using Witching Hour instead of the Delcera. I was afraid I was never really gonna be able to manage Arcane Power without the Delcera build, but it was actually fine. Then I also tried really hard to get a Compass Rose ring early on. It's just so hard to get one, because you really just need, in order to this one to be good, I would have to have gotten attack speed on it. Perhaps something like a higher amount of crit, then it would have been okay, but yeah, it's just really hard to get these items. And then I could also mention that I was able to craft a really sick Traveler's Pledge. Got this one really recently. In order this one to be really good, it would not have area damage on it, it would have cold damage. But overall, I'm really happy with this one. It was an insane craft, and it didn't really take me too long. I think I spent it only like 500 to 700 souls, so that was pretty sweet to see. But what else? Yeah, the helm was also a really hard thing to get. I never really managed to get a good helm, but this one was okay for now. Yeah, could have gotten life percent on the shoulders instead of armor. That would also been better. Still really happy with the gloves I got as well. They are really, really great. They just need a little higher intelligence and I suppose area damage. But that's pretty much it for the normal gear, I suppose. Then we should mention the freaking ancient primal crazy offhand that I was able to get. This one is the GG roll. You're never gonna get a better one than this one, at least for the spec that I play. This was an amazing item. I obviously had to go to like Diablo 3 Reddit and ask for rerolls and everything. I was so stoked. I had tried so long to get an ancient triumph. I actually think I never was able to get an ancient triumvirate until I actually had the primal one. It just refused to drop. I spent it maybe 10,000 bloods or something like 5,000 bloods just to get an ancient triumvirate, but it never happened. It just didn't happen. And then before I even was able to get one ancient triumvirate, this happened. If I was a higher paragon level, the way intelligence scales, if you are at lower paragon levels, say 800 or whatever, intelligence is better. But since this one already rolled perfect stats with attacking, arcane power and crit, area damage, and 10 crit, this intelligence could either be rolled for cooldown reduction or intelligence. It was already native intelligence. But yeah, there was really nothing else to reroll, so I was pretty freaking amazed for this item here. Never really thought I would able to get such a sick item. I could also just mention really fast the other primal items. This one was also really good. I guess the ray of frost area damage could have been like meteor damage or something to be really good, so I could also reroll the vitality away, but for now I'm pretty happy with this one. And then I was also able to get some mantle of channeling shoulders. No, not really great stats. If none of them to have been really good, it would have been life percent on them, and then I suppose the other stats should already have been a native, something like reduce resource cost or something like that. But still, it's a really good roll, and I was happy to get that. So that was pretty much the 3 crazy primal items that I was able to get, and overall the build. But yeah, as you saw in the gameplay and whatnot, it's really just all about the convention elements. I know when it's taking down from like lightning, so now comes lightning, then I know the arcane is gonna come next, and when I see the arcane, I just wanna do like boom, and then just spam it, being able to spend all my arcane power fully in that cycle. I go from making like 500 billion to a trillion crits to maybe doing like consistent 3 to 4 billion crits, trillion crits. The convention of elements rings is just so stupid, but it's such an addictive gameplay, because when it happens, it's so important that you are able to maximize the damage in that small window. So yeah, I'm all about just looking down on the stupid little convention elements ring. Like, my god, I just wish the UI was better for that single ring. That would make the gameplay that much better. Or better yet, Blizzard, fix your damn API and just let us make mods for this game. It's so stupid. Yeah. Fix your UI. I can't deal with such crap there. I'm always just looking down on this stupid little tiny icon instead of actually looking up on the screen and the gameplay itself. So yeah, fix it, please. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, a little talk about Diablo 3, a little bit of talk about general boredom in RPGs, pacing of RPGs in general. Again, Diablo 3 is just so fast paced where you end up playing just a few weeks, even if you haven't really, if you haven't even bought the game yet and you end up picking it up now, you can really just plateau really fast and end up being bored. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.